We probably shouldn't go around trying to mold them and squish them into who we think that they should be, especially just because we say, but God wants this for you. Maybe he doesn't do everything in the timing that we really wanted at the moment. People aren't Play-Doh. Probably shouldn't squish them and mold them around all the time. Something else that people do is become too selfless. It's like being selfish in reverse. That person who's just like, I'm just gonna give and I'm gonna give and love people, totally, it's not about me, and just love people into loving me and all that. Doesn't usually work either. Because one, people don't appreciate it the way that you want them to, or two, they will use you like a box of Kleenexes. There are always natural, healthy boundaries that have to go both ways about being careless towards, helping other people and knowing that you need to be cared for in return. Balance is always a part of that. Here's a reason why it's bad when you don't have that balance. Hey Chad, there's this guy and he's making my life torture. He tells me he likes me and he has feelings for me. Like when we're alone, he says I'm special and no other girls like me. And he has these feelings he can't describe. But when we're at school, or I see him anywhere people are around, he treats me like dirt and throws things at me. Do I not exist? Not to him, I don't, I guess. Why would he say these things? I think that he does care for me and maybe he loves me, but it's hard to tell when he does this. Please tell me what to do, Maggie. Which brings me to my next point. It is not okay to be dumb. It's really not. To Maggie, and all of the Maggies out there, this might sting a little bit, but I've always promised to be honest with you. Stop it. You have a brain. You do not have the luxury of being a clueless person anymore. Stop. Please stop being delusional. Take a hint and open your eyes. I mean, flip this around. If your friend writes you and they have this problem and they come to you about it, what are you going to say? Every single one of you knows that you're going to be like, who cares if he says he likes you? Obviously he doesn't. He treats you terribly. Like, it's going to be obvious to you about what to say. I'll give you another example. If someone walks up to me and they're like, hey man, what's up? And then they punch me in the face. And then they're like, I love you. You know what I'm going to say? Probably, ow. And then right after that, I'm going to say, I don't believe you. People are not perfect. We don't always show people the kindness, the care, the respect, and the love that we need to. Every single one of us. But even though that's true, we can still add up whether or not somebody's really actually trying to show you that they care about you, or whether or not they're just paying lip service about something. You add up people's actions and their words, and see if they're somewhat fair. If you take a little puppy, and they've done this lots of times, and you raise it in a herd of sheep, that puppy will think that it's a sheep. It really will. And if you think that you are unworthy, or unlovable, or unvaluable, you will live out that perception of yourself. And guess what? People do it all the time, everywhere. The good news is that you have a choice. You have a choice when it comes to turning on your brain and being smart and being a competent human being. You can start by knowing that God thinks that you are really valuable. That he doesn't leave you, he doesn't think another girl's cuter, and he tells you that your brain and your heart are very special and he wants you to take care of them. And that's a pretty good place to be. Smart is a choice, I mean it. Like, smart girls are awesome, you really do rock. But even if you are a smart, competent person, there are times where you still be miserable. One thing that fascinated me was there's some teens who are so happy and content and peaceful most of the time, and there's some people who are so miserable most of the time. And everyone's trying really hard, but they're getting different results. Who here has ever been just miserable? Like, what are the things, what are the things that make you really miserable as a person? For me, I know what a few of them are. Traffic, hate it. People that chew with their mouth open, it's not necessary. Hey man, how's your food? Oh, it's good, it really sounds like it. Sitting too long, when people lie to me, but mostly the things that makes me miserable is myself. it's always us. I have a pretty big say-so in whether or not I feel miserable most of the time. And sparing you all the boring research, there were a couple of things that stick out to me that miserable teens did. One, they have a fear of the past. Every single person will screw up many, many, many times. We can either stay chained to the shackles of our past and never learn from them, or we can just learn and continue to just move on. That's kind of a good way to think about life anyway. You can either stay here in the fear of the future because of your past, or you can learn from it and embrace all the things that the future has in store. Do not let the fear of your past ruin your future. Miserable teenagers also had this idea about love, like, love me, love me, love me, love me, please. They were begging for love all of the time. I think one of the strangest, hardest truths to accept, at least I think this, is that love really does have to be freely given. You cannot force someone to love you. I like it when people like me, but I can't even make them like me. Why in the world would we make people try and love us? That's crazy. Plus it makes you look like a stalker. Remember, stalkers never think that they're a stalker, but everyone else knows.